October 13th, 1994. Sector 7 patrol report filed under Zone 14. The discrepancy is recorded at first light. A handheld radio was logged as functional at Point Delta, with a clear check-in and a clean transmission to base. Location: Organ Pipe Cactus National Monument, Southwest Arizona. At 06:15 hours, the patrol officer walked on a fixed bearing to the exact coordinates for observation point Echo. The GPS matched the map, the distance matched the sector notes, but within 50 meters of the marked position, there was no cairn, no painted reference stone, no disturbed ground. The saguaro cluster listed on the map was not there. 8 hours later, the same coordinates led two people to a cairn that showed years of weathering and no sign of recent movement. The file contains no explanation. The survey grid for Border Management Zone 14 was established in 1987 using triangulation points fixed to exposed bedrock and reinforced steel stakes driven 8 feet into compacted caliche. The zone covers approximately 42 square miles of Sonoran Desert terrain in southwestern Arizona, extending from the international boundary fence northward to the ridgeline of the Growler Mountains. Access is limited to 2 improved dirt roads maintained by federal agencies. Both routes require high-clearance vehicles and become impassable during monsoon season, typically July through September. The nearest staffed facility is 31 miles northeast. No cellular service exists within the zone. Radio communication depends on line-of-sight repeaters mounted on 3 peaks along the eastern perimeter. Daytime temperatures exceed 110 degrees Fahrenheit between May and September. Nighttime lows in winter months drop below freezing. Annual precipitation averages 7 inches. Vegetation consists primarily of creosote bush, saguaro, ocotillo, and palo verde. Terrain features include alluvial fans, dry washes, volcanic outcroppings, and occasional seasonal pools that hold water for 3 to 6 weeks following significant rain events. The zone is divided into 12 numbered patrol sectors. Each sector contains designated observation points marked on the topographic maps revised every 5 years. Ground markings include cairns, painted reference stones, and GPS coordinates verified against satellite imagery. Personnel rotate through the zone on 7-day assignments. Standard equipment includes water reserves, GPS units, handheld radios, topographic maps, and emergency beacons. Protocol requires twice daily position reports and immediate notification of any equipment, malfunction, or navigational discrepancy. The temperature differential between day and night can exceed 50 degrees. This produces thermal expansion in rocks and occasional audible cracking. After sunset, shadows lengthen rapidly in the final hour before dark. Visibility changes significantly as direct sunlight gives way to ambient light reflected from dust particles suspended in dry air. Wildlife activity increases after dark. Coyotes, javelina, kit foxes, and various rodent species emerge. Bats become active near dusk. Owls begin vocalizing. Most large animals avoid human presence but will investigate unattended equipment or supply caches. The international boundary fence runs east to west across the southern edge of the zone. It consists of steel bollards set in concrete, 15 to 18 feet tall, spaced approximately 4 inches apart. Maintenance crews inspect and repair sections on irregular schedules. Some portions show evidence of previous breaches, now welded or reinforced. No permanent structures exist within Zone 14. Temporary encampments leave minimal trace. Wind erodes footprints within hours. Disturbed ground returns to ambient appearance within days, unless vegetation is removed. October 12, 1994, Fortness 20 Spars. Arrived Sector 7, observation point. Charlie, GPS confirms position N, 32 is 1847, W 113 by 0392. Cairn intact. Reference boulder marked with orange paint, northwest face, still visible. No vandalism, no recent disturbance. Temperature 104 degrees. Clear skies, wind negligible. Visibility excellent, can see fence line to south, ridge line to north. Saguaro cluster, approximately 200 meters east. Matches map notation. Wash runs northeast to southwest, dry, gravel bed. Checked equipment, radio functional. Water supply adequate. Map corresponds to observed terrain. October 12, 1994, 1835 Hertzbelwasser. Reached observation point Delta before sunset. Located cairn without difficulty. Used same approach route as previous patrols. Northeast from Point Charlie along base of ridge. Distance approximately 3 kilometers. Terrain gentle, no obstacles. Point Delta cairn positioned on low rise. Flat area suitable for overnight camp. Clear sightlines in all directions. Fence visible to south. Radio check completed. Position logged. Set up camp. No anomalies. Standard procedure. October 13th, 1994, 6:15ers. Departed Point Delta at first light. Intended route southwest to Point Echo, then west to Point Foxtrot. Both points marked on map. Both verified during previous patrol cycles. Distance to Echo, approximately 2 kilometers. Followed bearing 240 degrees. Terrain as expected. Reached position where Point Echo should be located. Cairn not visible. Rechecked GPS. Position correct according to coordinates. Rechecked map. Notation clear. Searched area within 50-meter radius. No cairn, no reference markers, no orange paint, no disturbed ground indicating recent removal. Terrain matched general description. Low wash, scattered creosote, visibility good. But specific features did not align. Saguaro cluster marked on map, not present. Boulder configuration different. May is October 13th, 1994, 0840 Turn. Proceeded west toward Point Foxtrot. Used GPS coordinates. Arrived at marked position. Cairn not visible. Reference markers absent. Terrain consistent with general zone characteristics but did not match map annotations. Wash orientation different. Vegetation density higher than noted. No painted stones. Returned to Point Delta using backtrack bearing. Cairn still present. No change to camp area. Radio check completed. Reported navigational discrepancy to base. Advised to remain at Point Delta. Await daylight verification. This October 13th, 1994, 14W10 HRs. Supervisor arrived with additional GPS unit and updated maps. Proceeded together to coordinates for Point Echo. Cairn present. Reference boulder with orange paint clearly visible. Saguaro cluster matches map notation. Wash orientation correct. Supervisor confirmed. Point Echo intact, position verified, no discrepancy. Asked to clarify morning observation. Repeated coordinates used. Repeated route taken. Both match standard protocol. Supervisor inspected area. No evidence of cairn removal or reconstruction. Stones weathered, lichen growth undisturbed. Base stones settled into ground, consistent with years in place, not recent assembly. Proceeded to Point Foxtrot. Cairn present, markers intact, terrain matches map. No explanation provided. Supervisor logged incident as equipment malfunction, possible GPS error. Issued replacement unit, returned to base following standard route. No further discrepancies. October 14th, 1994, administrative note. Technician examined GPS unit returned from Zone 14 patrol. Diagnostic check showed no malfunction. Satellite acquisition log normal. Position accuracy within standard tolerance. Battery charge adequate. Internal clock correct. Unit returned to service rotation. Topographic maps reviewed. No recent revisions to Sector 7. Observation points. Echo and Foxtrot confirmed unchanged since 1989 survey. Coordinates verified against master database. Patrol officers report filed. No disciplinary action. No medical evaluation requested. Scheduled for next rotation per standard protocol. October 18th, 1994, 7:30 SIRS. Second rotation assignment, Zone 14, Sector 7. Same patrol route, same observation points, same equipment checklist. Departed base at 6 ORs. Arrived Point Charlie at 7:15, cairn intact. GPS confirms coordinates. No changes since previous patrol. Weather clear. Temperature rising. Visibility good. Proceeded to Point Delta. Route familiar. No navigation issues. Cairn present. Camp established by 09 Dabao. HIR's radio check normal. Position logged. Water supply adequate. October 18th, 1994, 17:50 SARS. Sunset approach. Prepared overnight position at Point Delta. Standard setup. Equipment secured. Visibility declining. Shadows extending east from ridgeline. Temperature dropping. Wind calm. Fence line still visible to south. Terrain features unchanged. No wildlife activity yet. Radio check at 18 HRs as scheduled. All systems normal. October 19th, 1994, 05:45 hours. Pre-dawn, temperature 41 degrees. No cloud cover, stars still. Visible. Prepared for departure to Point Echo. Checked compass. Verified GPS coordinates. Same bearing as previous attempt, 240 degrees, waited for sufficient light. Departed Point Delta at 06:10 HRs. October 19th, 1994, 6:55 HORS. Arrived at Point Echo coordinates. Cairn present. Reference markers intact. Orange paint visible on boulder. Saguaro cluster matches map. No discrepancy. Logged position. Continued to Point Foxtrot. Coordinates verified. Cairn present. Terrain matches documentation. Completed circuit. Returned to Point Delta by 0930. HR's radio report. Patrol route normal. All observation points confirmed. No equipment issues. October 19th, 1994, 14:20 Rs. Supervisor contacted via radio. Requested clarification on timing of previous discrepancy. Asked, what time did I depart Point Delta on October 13th? Reviewed log. Departure, 06:15 HRs. Supervisor asked, what time today? Response, 06:10 Rs. Supervisor asked, light conditions on October 13. Response, first light. Visibility adequate for navigation, not full daylight. Supervisor asked, light conditions today. Response, same. First light, visibility adequate, no further questions. Supervisor logged response, ended transmission. October 23, 1994, memorandum. Request submitted for atmospheric data, October 13, 1994, Zone 14 vicinity. National Weather Service records, clear skies, no precipitation, no fog, no dust storms. Visibility reported as 10 miles or greater. Temperature 38 degrees at 6 HRs, rising to 52 degrees by 08 HRs. No meteorological anomalies recorded. Satellite imagery reviewed for October 12 to 13. No cloud cover, no smoke from fires, no unusual ground discoloration or shadows. Seismic activity checked. No tremors recorded in region during relevant period. No ground displacement. Wildlife reports. Normal activity. No unusual animal behavior noted by other personnel in adjacent zones. October 27, 1994. Follow-up survey. Survey crew dispatched to Sector 7. Objective: verify physical placement and condition of observation, points Echo and Foxtrot. Crew used independent GPS units, separate from patrol equipment. Coordinates cross-referenced with 1989 baseline survey. Point Echo. Cairn intact, position matches records within 2 meters. Reference boulder examined. Orange paint applied in 1989. Weathering consistent with 5-year exposure. No evidence of recent movement or reconstruction. Lichen growth on base stones, undisturbed. Soil compaction around cairn, consistent with long-term placement. Point Foxtrot. Cairn intact. Position matches records within 3 meters. Painted reference stones verified. Vegetation around markers shows no signs of recent disturbance or clearance. Survey crew camped at Point Delta overnight. Departed for Echo and Foxtrot at first light, October 28, 06:20 HRs. Both cairns located without difficulty. No navigation discrepancies. Visibility good. Terrain matched map. Annotations. Crew returned to base. Report filed. No evidence of landmark displacement, removal, or alteration. November 3, 1994. Personnel note. Patrol officer reassigned to Zone 9 for routine rotation. Completed 4 additional patrols without incident. Navigation accuracy normal. No equipment malfunctions reported. Medical evaluation, not requested, not conducted. Performance review, satisfactory. No concerns noted. Officer remains in active service. The human eye adapts to changing light conditions over a period of approximately 20 to 30 minutes. In low-light environments, rod cells in the retina become more active, increasing sensitivity to movement and contrast, but reducing color perception and fine detail recognition. During the transition from darkness to dawn, depth perception can be affected. Shadows appear longer and more pronounced. Distance estimation becomes less reliable. Familiar landmarks may appear altered in size or position due to changes in lighting angle. This is a well-documented phenomenon in navigation psychology. Studies of wilderness navigation show that travelers frequently misjudge distances covered in low light. A distance perceived as 2 kilometers may, upon measurement, prove to be 1.5 or 2.5 kilometers. The error margin increases in terrain with minimal variation. Desert environments, plains, open water. In featureless landscapes, the brain compensates for lack of visual reference by creating false landmarks. A cluster of bushes becomes a remembered boulder. A slight depression becomes a significant wash. These mental constructs feel accurate to the observer, but do not correspond to physical reality. This is called terrain substitution. It occurs most frequently when a traveler is following a route from memory, rather than continuous map reference. The expectation of what should be present overrides the interpretation of what is actually visible. GPS technology in 1994 was less refined than current systems. Civilian units relied on selective availability, a deliberate signal degradation imposed by the military to limit accuracy. Position errors of 50 to 100 meters were common. In certain atmospheric conditions, errors could exceed 150 meters. A cairn located 100 meters from the expected coordinates might be missed entirely if the search radius is limited to 50 meters. Additionally, GPS units of that era required clear line of sight to at least 4 satellites. In areas with ridgelines or steep terrain, signal acquisition could be delayed or intermittent. A device might display a position while still calculating, leading the user to trust incomplete data. The patrol officer's GPS was tested after the incident and found functional, but a functional device after the fact does not exclude a temporary malfunction during use. Battery performance degrades in cold temperatures. October mornings in the Sonoran Desert can drop below 40 degrees. A unit operating at reduced capacity might display coordinates with lower confidence intervals, unnoticed by the user. Cairns are not permanent structures. They require maintenance. Stones shift due to thermal expansion, animal activity, and wind erosion. A cairn that appears stable one season may partially collapse the next. If a cairn loses height or top stones, it becomes less visible from a distance. A traveler approaching from an unfamiliar angle might pass within 30 meters without recognizing it. Reference boulders marked with paint are subject to fading, dust accumulation, and lichen overgrowth. Orange paint exposed to intense ultraviolet radiation loses brightness. After 5 years, a painted mark may be difficult to distinguish from natural rock discoloration, unless viewed from the correct angle in good light. The survey crew that verified the cairns in late October did so in full daylight, using multiple GPS units, with specific instructions to locate and inspect the markers. Their success does not contradict the patrol officer's experience under different conditions. Human cognition is influenced by expectation and pattern recognition. When a familiar route produces an unexpected result, the initial response is often confusion, followed by self-correction. The observer rechecks instruments, reconsiders the route, searches the area more thoroughly. But if the discrepancy persists, cognitive dissonance increases. The brain begins to construct explanations that reconcile the conflict between expectation and observation. In isolation, with limited communication and no external validation, this process can produce vivid false memories. The observer becomes certain of details that did not occur, or fails to notice details that did. This is not deception. It is a predictable response to ambiguous sensory information in high-stress environments. The patrol officer was alone, in unfamiliar light. Conditions in a remote area, relying on instruments that provided numerical data, but no visual confirmation. These are ideal conditions for navigational error. The supervisor's response is instructive. Rather than dismiss the report, the agency conducted a follow-up survey. The survey confirmed that the landmarks existed where they were supposed to exist, but the survey did not explain why the patrol officer, using correct coordinates and standard procedures, did not locate them during the first attempt. The administrative conclusion, equipment malfunction or user error, is the most statistically probable explanation. It accounts for the majority of similar incidents in wilderness navigation records, but the GPS unit showed no malfunction. The officer's subsequent patrols showed no pattern of error. The coordinates used were verified as correct. The search radius was adequate. Visibility was reported as good. The follow-up survey crew departed Point Delta at 06.20 HRs on October 28th. They located both cairns without difficulty. The patrol officer departed Point Delta at 06.15 HRs on October 13th and did not locate the cairns. 4 days later, on October 19th, departing at 6.10 HRs, the officer located both cairns without difficulty. The difference in departure time is negligible. The light conditions were described as equivalent. The routes taken were identical. The instruments used were functionally identical after testing. The October 13th attempt occurred after an overnight stay at Point Delta. The October 19th attempt also occurred after an overnight stay at Point Delta. The October 28th survey crew also stayed overnight at Point Delta before departing. 2 attempts produced successful navigation. 1 did not. The explanations provided, lighting, cognitive error, instrument accuracy, terrain interpretation, are plausible for the unsuccessful attempt. They do not explain why the same conditions on October 19th and October 28th produced different results. The patrol officer was not removed from duty. No disciplinary action was taken. No medical evaluation was requested. The officer completed multiple subsequent patrols without incident. This suggests the agency did not consider the incident a failure of competence or reliability. The GPS unit was returned to service rotation. This suggests the agency did not consider the incident a failure of equipment. The cairns were confirmed in place, undisturbed, weathered consistently with years of exposure. This suggests the agency did not consider the incident a failure of landmark maintenance. The incident was logged, the report was filed. The officer was reassigned to routine rotation, but no explanation was recorded. The Zone 14 administrative file contains 3 documents related to the October 13th incident: the patrol officer's field log, the supervisor's verification report, the survey crew's follow-up assessment. All 3 documents describe the same landmarks, the same coordinates, the same terrain. Only one describes their absence. The file does not contain a conclusion. It does not contain a recommendation for procedural change. It does not contain a follow-up interview with the officer or a comparative analysis of similar incidents in other zones. It contains only the record of what was reported and the record of what was confirmed. The discrepancy between the two is noted but not resolved. The Zone 14 Sector 7 file is closed, but the archive remains open till date. Subscribe to access the latest video of Sector Unmapped.